Okay, so here we are again in the ETC Nomad software with the augmented visualizer. And we open up our Lighting Lab file. This is the one we've been working in to get started up on and to start practicing. So I wanted to show you guys a little bit more about using the navigation tools inside Augmented and the edit feature. So just to get started, I'm going to do a couple of things. One, I'm going to go ahead and hang some lights. So again, I'm going to grab channel 1 here, and I'm going to hang it in a position. And you can see it's dropped it over here into that same position in Augmented. And I'm going to click 10, and I'm going to hang it up on the other corner here. So I have 1 in the high stage right position, and this one in the high stage left position. And then I'm going to grab, let's say, 5 and hang him in the center middle here. So now I have 3 lights hung. I'll be using these lights just to demonstrate what the tools are here. So hung 3 lights. When I come back over here to Augmented, I want to be able to see a little bit what's going on my stage. And remember, if you come over to this palette here, I can click on Light, and it gives me the options of how I want to see the beams in the 3D space. And then the ambient light is like my house lights. So if I go off, that's going dark, like a dark stage. And then I have my work lights that are kind of low, they're kind of medium, and then that's full bright lighting in my theater, kind of like our fluorescent work lights. So for right now, let's turn on the work lights and let's see what's going on. Inside this edit menu, I have several things that I can do. If you notice, one, the lights here have large channel numbers on over the top of them. We don't always want to see that. So we could turn those off by clicking on labels, right? And clicking either all, just our moving lights, just selected lights, or active lights, and notice how we've turned those off. If we wanted to turn them back on, we could click the lights that are selected here, go back to our labels, and turn on the channel numbers for the selected lights. That number here corresponds to the control channel that's assigned to each one of those lights. If we want it to go away, we turn it off. Great. Every now and then it's a little difficult when we have a lot of lights turned on to see where they're focused. So I'm going to turn all these lights on at full, and there I have my beams. Here on the floor, I see the throw and the field, the light field that makes on the stage. And then in the air, I can see the field angle coming out of the light. I can see the beam angle. But every now and then, we just want to clarify what's going where, and so we can see where everything is positioned. Using this label function, I can also turn on labels that show me mid-beam of what lighting fixture that is. So this is telling me that this is the field, the field angle that's coming from channel 10. This one's coming from channel 5, and that's coming from channel 1. Again, I can go back to labels and turn that off, and they disappear, right? I can also create focus handles. So this shows me, like, say I want to focus, let's say just one light, channel 10. It shows me where that is and the center, or what we call the hot spot of where the center of that light is. So let's turn these other lights off for a second. This really becomes handy whenever we want to get a very specific focus on one light. So I'm going to turn on 10 here, and I have his focus handle on, and I want the hottest part of that light to be right on that actor's face. That shows me clearly where the center of the light is focusing, which is always going to be the hot spot. Now, because of the throw of the light, I have a large field on the stage that it's extended out because of the throw of the light and the angle, but I know that the hot spot of the light is right on the actor's face. Let's say for some reason we want it on the center of the ball, then we can move that to the center of the ball. Let's say we want it on the tip of the pyramid or on the base of the pyramid. So that label function is showing me exactly where that light lands, and I can turn it off, right? Every now and then I want to see the actual lights themselves to see where that beam is focused. So that's called a stick beam. And basically what it does is it draws a solid stick through the beam of light to show me exactly where that light is pointed. Let's go back to these other two lights and turn them on. And notice even when I just select them, it's showing me the stick beam, and it gives me a really accurate depiction of exactly, let's circle around here, swing around. It shows me exactly where those lights are pointed. Let's use our camera here to, right? So it's showing me multiple views. Let's get that out of the way, of exactly where the beams of those lights are headed. Let's go back to 4 here, and then back to 1. It's a visual representation of the center of that beam. And again, I can turn those off by deselecting them. This really helps when I have multiple lights that are on. And let's say we're in a dark stage, and suddenly I have a bunch of lights. We're going to refocus this guy. Let's click off of these and let's refocus this guy. And let's put him right on that actor. And sometimes it can get a little bit confusing about which light we're seeing from what direction, especially if we happen to have a lot of lighting instruments on the stage at once. But by using the beam sticks, and again, this turns on all the selected lights, by using the beam sticks, it shows us a really accurate representation of where the center of that light is shining. And it changes color with the color of the lights. So that's very useful for, let's say, we change the color of this light, right? And now it shows me each one of those and shows me a physical representation of the color and what direction it's coming from. This just gives you more and more control using augmented to see where your lights are focused. Now, of course, once we finish our cues, we're going to want to get rid of that selection and be able to show the lights in a performative view without all those labels and those stick beams on them. Great.